Welcome to another edition of Very Vogue with me, Val Kleinhans. The lovely Sara Anzalone is in the building. She is a model and business owner. Sara, you are here because you're very Vogue. Welcome.
Oh, thank you so much. What an honor. Thank you so much. So good to be here.
I'm glad to have you. When did the modeling begin? Have you always done it?
No, so I actually started modeling in 2019. Funny enough, growing up, I loved watching America's Next Top Model, but I never thought that it would be me because I grew up in
Mm,
like a little hick town in upstate New York. So I don't, we didn't really do that. It wasn't until I moved to Washington, D.C. actually for work that I saw DC Fashion Week happening. And I was like, those runway models look really pretty. Let me give it a shot. So I got into DC Fashion Week. And then from there, I started connecting with photographers and designers and snowballed to where we are today. So,
yeah, one project led into the other. Since I'm a top model fan too, I remember. I think we're pretty
yes.
close in age, so we both were watching. But
Yeah. Grew up on it.
the episode that I think no one can forget is the one where Tyra screams at Tiffany. Do you think she was being too hard on her at that moment? Because I thought so, even
I
today.
thought she was being too hard, but let me tell you, if she didn't, we wouldn't have the incredible memes we have today. So
True.
part of me is thankful.
We're all rooting for it. Absolutely.
Yes.
Do you recall the moment that you were first published? Because I'm sure that was huge for you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, actually. So funny enough, the very first photo shoot that I ever did in DC, that was the photo that I first got published. It sounds crazy, but I
Wow.
worked with this great photographer who had gotten a few models into magazines before. And I didn't think much of the shoot. I thought I did a pretty good job for my first time. I felt good about it. And then 2 weeks later, he sends me a link and he's like, Sara, you got to check this out. I was like, what the hell is this? And I have two pictures in the magazine, and I to this day have it sitting right on my little, when I wake up in the morning, I have my little table, I have my little magazine open, I have my picture in it. It was, oh my God. The feeling was incredible. I sent it to all my friends. I said, you gotta check this out.
Like I
So
told
good.
y'all. I told
Yeah,
y'all it's
I'm
here.
here.
Was there a theme to it or what was excuse me, what was going on in the shoot?
Well, that's the funniest part. It was just a very casual shoot. No,
Oh,
I had this dress that I got from Target of all places. It was this beautiful floral black dress. I had my hair like I did now. It was just natural. Wasn't anything crazy. We did it in the garden outside of the National Archives in Washington, D.C. It was just supposed to be a fun thing. You couldn't tell in the picture, but I was sweating. I was miserable. But besides that, it was just a very natural, normal shoot, and those pictures got published. But you know what that meant to me was that I didn't have to put on a ton of makeup. I didn't have to do anything crazy. That was so validating that we could take such normal pictures, such very normal everyday pictures, and they were good enough to end up in a magazine. That was a great feeling.
because you're in the industry, I wanted to ask that. Do you think we're seeing more and more of that on magazine covers or even online?
I think so, and I'm so thankful for it. That nowadays, I think people want to see realness and people want to see natural bodies because, we've been given all of these pictures of celebrities and models that are so highly retouched and fake that they're
Hmm.
so incredibly unattainable. So for people to finally see themselves on magazines and on the covers and the contents and ads is so refreshing, and I hope that we continue to go in that direction in the industry.
Yeah, and in Target dresses, because that's where I shop, because that's what I can afford. I'm
Right.
like,
It's
thank
like,
God.
yeah, it was like $15, and I was like, we're in a magazine. So yeah, listen, anyone should be able to do it.
For real. I mean, I love me some Gucci and some YSL. Don't get me wrong, but Target does well
Sure,
also.
exactly. It's fine.
What do you think the biggest misconception about models out there is?
You know what? I made a TikTok about this not too long ago, and I had a lot of people respond.
Mm.
And they were like, "Oh, really?" I think a huge misconception, and I think a lot of this comes from America's Next Top Model throwback, is that models have some sort of attitude, are rude, are divas, are this
Oh
or that.
boy.
I have met maybe one or two girls in my entire life that I would call divas. Other than that, women models are like, and this goes for men, women, everyone. They're all so kind. They're so generous. Will help you with anything. I mean, I have girls when I go to fashion weeks, when I go to castings. I won't get picked for something, but the girl who did get picked goes, "Oh, let me give you this casting that you should go to after this. They would love your look." We're constantly trying to help each other out in the industry because we all know what it's like. We've all been there, and we're all going through the same
Mm,
struggles together. So
mhm.
I think a lot of people think that we're divas. We're mean or we're catty is a big one, but I rarely ever meet girls like that. So
No, I mean, on top model is obviously a giant exaggeration, I'm sure,
mm. Oh
in
yeah.
many ways. But I do wonder if there was some like realness in the fact that it's not an easy job. I mean, I saw these girls do shoots in freezing conditions. They're tired, they're cold, they're hungry, they're on, sets for 12, 14-hour days. And
Uh-huh.
if they get a little bit of diva behavior, it's kind of understandable because
Oh
anybody
yeah.
would have a bit of an attitude in that sort of circumstance. Anybody would. But I'm happy to hear that it's the opposite. And I always thought that
Yeah.
Tyra was maybe being a little bit too hard on them because I'm like, girl, it's crazy conditions. Like if I had a bit of an attitude, I would too if I were freezing cold on a rooftop somewhere and I
Oh
hadn't eaten
yeah.
all day.
And I will say, part of those shoots, a lot of those shoots, that's real. Is that you'll go through shoots. I mean, photo shoots are one thing, but especially runway when you're sitting around all day waiting to do a show where you'll walk for 30 seconds. I mean, you're in hair and makeup for like 8 hours before the show sometimes, and you're lucky if they have a cheese platter. Honestly,
Oh
um,
my.
it can be miserable. So the fact that the girls keep their spirits high is very impressive. But obviously, sometimes we get a little attitude, but it's very fair. It's very fair.
Well, how do you protect your own mental health in an environment like that? I mean, it's good to hear that it's supportive, or your experience has been women supporting women. But in general, I'm just curious, how do you protect your mental health in that environment?
That's a really good question. I'll say that it's a lot of self-care, and it's a lot of confidence, and it's a lot of working on myself offset, because
Mm.
if you go into a shoot or runway or anything feeling kind of iffy or feeling comparative with other people or whatever it is, you're automatically going to be in a bad place, and anything that's get said to you, it's just going to go downhill. So I think the biggest part for me is taking care before I do anything, making sure
Mm.
that, I feel good about myself. I give myself those affirmations before I leave the house. I feel confident in my look. I do a little self-care day, a little skincare, whatever it is. I make sure
Hmm.
that I'm set before I leave the house. And I think that's the best way to take care of yourself on set.
Yeah, making yourself number one, like making sure that
Mhm.
you're good before you do everything else that you have to do in
Yes.
a day or help everybody else that you have to help throughout a day. You
Oh
brought up
yeah.
skincare, and I always wanted to ask this. What is a model skincare routine? What is involved?
This is gonna sound awful, but I didn't get my skincare down until maybe like a few months ago. I
Me
used to put
too.
right, and once you get it, it's like the best feeling ever.
Yes.
Um, I used to put so much crap on my face, and I love my sister, but she put me onto the St. Ives scrub, and I used it for years, and
Uh,
shamefully, like no one come for me, but I was using it up until like earlier this year, and my skin was
whatever
just
works.
whatever works, but it didn't because my skin was so bad. And it wasn't until I got a facial before I went to the most recent New York Fashion Week, in actually the February New York Fashion Week this past year. And I got a facial right before, and she goes, "You're doing too much." She was like, "I'm gonna be honest with you, girl." She's like, "You're doing too much." I was like, "No, what do you mean? This is what Sephora sold me." No, no. So now all I do, I use my little fresh cleanser every day, twice a day, which is the most simple, the soy cleanser. It's
Mhm.
fantastic. I use Paula's Choice, the like exfoliator, the like liquid exfoliant, like twice a week. And then I use, of all things, the Nivea cold cream on my face every day. That's
Oh,
how I
yes.
moisturize because I have such dry skin. That's it.
Me too. I see. I use a
Isn't
lot of
it?
the
Isn't it great?
It is, but it helps. I use a lot of the oils just because I tend to have dry skin too. So
Mhm.
when I wake up, I like to do the ordinary hyaluronic acid, and then
Oh.
just kind of just give my face a little refresh, and
Mhm.
then shower, and then after the shower, put on like some Drunk Elephant facial oil, just
I
regular
don't
like
want to start.
I know it's so good. And then at night, whenever I take all my makeup off, I finish it with like the Estee Lauder toner. And
Mm.
ta-da,
Okay, goodness.
I'm
Well, here
learning.
you go. And your face is great, so you're fine. Whatever works, right?
I'm trying. Well, that's the thing. Like I didn't start to care about it until I hit my 30s. I'm 33 now. I'll be 34 in January. But I didn't
Okay.
start. Yeah, I didn't start until then. And I'm like, why didn't I do this sooner? Because this is actually so soothing and it's so zen. It's like a
It's so
moment for yourself.
to take care of yourself and want to perfect yourself. Just the want in general to take care of yourself means so much for your mental health and your body. And I can't believe I didn't start sooner. So,
I know, me too. You mentioned New York, Paris, Milan. I know I've seen
mm,
your Instagram. I know you've been there too. You've done it all. So, do you find that each city has a different vibe when you spend time there?
oh my God, absolutely. So, yeah. So I actually just moved to New York City. So I'm here now. So New York Fashion Week obviously will be a lot easier now. And this past New York Fashion Week was great, but New York is very, I don't even know how to describe it. You kind of just have to you kind of have to be there. New York is very to the point, you get in, you get out for your shows. There's no real like the after parties are fun, but no one's sitting around like congratulating you, patting on the back. You're still competing with a
Oh,
bunch of other girls. It's very like get your show, get out. Uh Milan and Paris though, which I love New York. New York is fantastic. That's why I live here. Would never leave, right? Milan and Paris, I don't know if it was just the shows that I did, but my God, they took care of their models so well. We
mm.
had platters of food. They had fresh coffee, fresh juices. Oh, there were enough hair and makeup artists for everyone, so no one had to do their own hair and makeup last minute. When should I
Oh
tell
boy.
you? Happens a lot in New York. I mean, LA too. LA's the same thing. Oh my gosh, it was just so wonderful. So relaxed. New York obviously is so high stress. Everyone is so high stress. Everyone's got somewhere to go. I feel like Europe was so the opposite. And I will look forward to going back there next season.
Yeah, that's more my vibe. A little bit more
Yeah,
laid back. I have been in New York,
no
and
chill.
I mean, it's fun, but I'm like, okay, I did it once. I don't know if I want to keep up with that fast pace anymore. Like
Mhm.
that's what I think New York. I think fast paced. Just go 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 go.
Oh yeah, that's all it is. And you know what? I have a lot of friends from DC, the girls I started modeling with, who did one season in New York, and they're like, "Oh, I'm good. That was fun. I'm good."
I had my fun. I don't know if I want to do that again. That's
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
heard.
like that was fun. We're leaving. Which I don't blame them. It's not for everyone. It's definitely not for everyone. So
No, but I get there is opportunity, and I understand
mhm,
why it's continues to be the staple that it is when it comes to fashion
mhm.
and everything that surrounds it. When it comes to style and beauty, what brands are you feeling like are just killing it right now? What are some of your favorites?
That is such a good question. I feel like there's been a lot of rebrands lately. I don't know what it
Mm.
is, what like the entire fashion world is in like retrograde or something, but so many things have been changing. I will say that I love me some Dior. I love me some Prada, of course. I love me some Gucci. Things that I can actually afford. I Zara is always a hit for me. God, I love
Oh
Zara
yeah,
so much. I really try to stay away from fast fashion, but unfortunately, in this economy, I do not have a choice, and I would
right.
say that Zara is on point every damn time. So I love them so much. um,
I love it. I've been very into, I mean, Target is always a staple, but just like definitely into rare beauty. Loving what Selena Gomez is doing right
oh,
now.
okay, and
Yes.
you know what? Glossier. Okay, Rare Beauty and Glossier for beauty are my go-tos. And again, I
Yeah.
can only do Glossier because I've recently cleared my skin up. Before that, Glossier is not for the girlies with bad skin. So
Oh, got it.
So glad
Okay.
I can finally do it now. It's zero coverage, so
Yeah, it's there's so much. And my dream would be to just have like a traditional Gucci belt. The
mm,
logo, just black with the gold emblem. That's it. It would go with everything
yes.
someday. Maybe Christmas. We'll see. But that would
I
be
know,
what I
right?
want
I'm
to do.
gonna get my Dura saddlebag soon. Okay, so I don't know when. My bank account doesn't want to know when, but it will be soon. So
Yeah, that's when you just wake up the next day and you're like, eh, don't worry about it. Like
it's
you look
fine.
at the
You only live
cover,
once.
it's
We're
fine.
good. Exactly.
Right. Can't take it with you. Well, and speaking of brands, OK Kiwi is your baby, your business that offers fabulous jewelry. Tell me the story behind that.
Oh my gosh. So I am so proud that I was able to launch Ok Kiwi this summer. Ok Kiwi, the name comes from my sister. Her nickname is Kiwi, and I love my sister dearly, miss her so much. She's in upstate New York. So I'm glad to be back in my home state and be closer to her. But so I named the brand after her. The brand itself, I love jewelry. I love a good statement piece. I really love body jewelry though.
Mm,
And I was talking to my friends a bit, we get our cute little jewelry to go over bikinis, little loungewear. And I noticed that a lot of body jewelry was very not inclusive. It was built
mhm.
for like a very small body. And if you can't latch it in the back, that's your own problem. And I hated that because there were so many girls that looked so good in body jewelry and just could not wear it. One of my friends, Lauren, actually, who helped me with my launch, has been around since the beginning. I made her a piece for her prom, I think it was. I made her this beautiful, chain going down the middle. She loved it. And I realized though that size wasn't something that was available to a lot of people. So
Mhm.
the first collection that I did, I think I had two to three body chains that I made available up to, I believe, a size 5 or 6X in US sizing. And same thing with my most recent collection from Milan and Paris. I have two pieces that go up to a 5, 6X. So I really wanted to make it available to everyone. But on top of that, I wanted to have, nice necklaces, bracelets, earrings, statement pieces that would be good for the summertime, now for the fall. So I was just so happy that I was able to launch. There's so much love that goes into it. Everything is handmade. I don't outsource from anywhere, no drop shipping. It's all handmade by me and shipped by me. So I was just so proud.
Seems like kind of a duh concept too, because like in the
Mhm.
sense that we knew that was missing in the marketplace. We knew
Yes,
that that wasn't something that accommodated everybody, but you were just like, well, I'm actually going to do the work that it takes to change it. I mean, that had to feel good whenever you first launched, and I'm sure you had people telling you, thank you for thinking of me when I made this or when you made this.
absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, I didn't just want to create another jewelry brand that anyone could have done. I saw that there was a gap and I saw that there were people who wanted something. And I was like, well, let me do it. I can help you out. Let me make it. So, yeah, I mean, I got so many compliments, so many thanks afterwards from people that were like, thanks for thinking of me, because not a lot of brands do that. And
Yeah.
again, we are seeing the trend, I think, in fashion. We're going more towards being size inclusive and inclusive in general for a lot of different reasons. But, a lot of those brands are very not affordable or
I
hard
understand.
to get a hold of. And so that's another thing that I wanted with my brand, was to make sure things were actually affordable. So a lot of these body chains and all these this jewelry is things that I would be able to afford, right? I didn't want to make something that I myself wouldn't be able to afford. And so I'm very happy that I was able to do that as well.
Yeah, while you were prepping for the launch and during the launch, did you learn anything about business that surprised you?
My God, yeah. Absolutely. I'm still getting surprises. you know, as much as you think, I'm the type of person that thinks I can do anything that I put my mind to, which is true. Anyone can do that. But that doesn't mean that I can will a business degree into my life, the knowledge of a business degree. I went to school for political science. And so I didn't know any of these things. I thought that I could, just make a website and be able to sell stuff, and it would be it from there. But things pop up along the way as you're
Mhm.
Sh shipping. I didn't know how to ship things when I first started, and thankfully these websites that you can use to sell your products walk you through it pretty well, but then you get to the tax portion of it,
Oh,
how do I pay taxes?
yeah.
So a lot of things have popped up. The hardest thing for me though has been marketing because I don't have a marketing background. And I think a lot of people think that marketing is just post and people will come, but it's not. And so thankfully I have some great friends and I have some great connections of people who have been able to help me kind of get kickstarted in the marketing and given me ideas. One of my friends, Lonnie, as well, who was very involved with my launch and very involved from the beginning, has given me a lot of great tips. But my God, I'm still learning as I go. So
Yeah. But it sounds like tapping into your network was maybe most helpful of anything.
yes. Oh my gosh. And the people in these networks in the fashion world are so multifaceted that, for Lonnie, for example, my great friend, she's a model, but she also works in marketing. That's her day job, right? And then that translates into the marketing of her own page. She's fantastic. I just love her to death. But a lot of people in the fashion world are like that, and it's all about using your connections and
Mhm.
seeing, who can wear multiple hats. So
Yeah. Well, I think it's because we're just naturally creative people and we like
yeah.
to experiment and we want to treat color palettes or prints or anything
Mhm.
like that, accessories. We want to treat it as like our chemistry lab. So, since I know you're an accessories kind of girl, do you have any just like personal rules for how you wear them or how you style them?
Oh, that's such a good question. What's funny is I think that mm, I don't know the term maximalist. I think that is a trend right now, but hold I'm very hard on being a minimalist when it comes to jewelry. One of my things, I cannot wear earrings and necklaces together. It's one or the other. You can't do
Mm,
both.
got it.
That's just for me though. I am always an earrings girly. I always wear earrings, and the more simple, the better for me also. And I know gold might not be my color. I've been realizing this over the last like month or two is that I might actually be a silver girly, but I refuse to wear silver jewelry. I only wear gold. And again, I know that's strange, but for me, that's how I work.
I can never decide between the two either. I get it. It just kind of goes with what I feel for the day, I think.
Right.
When
And,
I'm
and then I saw a TikTok and it was like, you might be wearing the wrong shade. You might actually be a silver person. I was like, don't tell me that now. Everything I own is gold.
Stop,
And I have
TikTok.
gold.
Stop controlling my life.
Stop. I'm gonna block you. Like,
I will block you in its entirety,
yeah.
TikTok. Stop. Well, so what's next for you? What's coming soon? What can we get excited for?
Oh, great question. Well, for OK Kiwi, I just launched the Paris and Milan collection, Coastal Pearl. It is features a lot of pearls, a lot of chains, a lot of everything beautiful. We did a beautiful photo shoot on Lake Como in Italy, and so we have those beautiful pictures on the website. So that's all available now. So that's fantastic. I'm looking forward to getting the word out more about that. I've got a few orders already I have to fill before I head off to my next thing. So very exciting things. As far as modeling, thankfully I have a little bit of a break. I mainly do runway, so obviously runway comes in seasons, right? And I have a little bit of time until the next season in February. So in the meantime, I think it'll be a lot of, working with brands, photo shoots, and kind of taking a little step back from runway, taking a little bit of a break. But on the flip side of that, I also still have to unpack my apartment in New York City. So I moved to New York and then I immediately did New York Fashion Week and then I left for 2 weeks to go to Paris and Milan. So
Oh,
you can't see
wow.
it, but in front of me is all the boxes that I still have to unpack.
You have
So
not had a
that's
moment to breathe. Oh, my goodness.
haven't had a moment to breathe. I'm headed home in a few days to go see my family. So it's whatever. I'm having a great time, but definitely some great things to look forward to in the future. I've got a lot of information coming out on my TikTok because I love helping other models. I hate gatekeeping so much. There's a lot of
Mhm.
it in the industry, unfortunately. So on my TikTok, during Fashion Week, I posted a lot of model castings, and it was great getting to see girls at castings come up to me and say, "Hey, I found this because of you. It was fantastic. It was so good to get recognized for that." So I'll definitely be posting more of that, more modeling tips on my TikTok and on my Instagram, and trying to help other people getting into the industry.
That is awesome. I can't wait. What the gatekeeping though? Why do you think that's a thing? Why is that happening in the industry?
I think it's because there's a lot of competition. So I did
Mm,
say that models obviously were very friendly, try to help each other where they can, and that is very true. But at the end of the day, we are still competing with each other in a way. And there's only so many jobs out there, right? There are a lot of jobs, but there are only so many jobs out there. And I think that because of that, we tend to not give each other tips on how to get in. Once you're in, we'll help you, right? Models will help each other, but it's that entrance that's really hard to get past. I think
okay.
that's a barrier for a lot of people, just not even knowing where to start. And so a lot of times models will keep that information and won't help other young models. I hate that. And I love to help other models. I love to, give them information. How do you walk? What does a casting even look like? How do you even find castings in the first place? Um, the and one thing that, again, I made a TikTok about this, and a lot of people were like, wow, I never thought about it that way. But at the end of the day, none of us are truly in direct competition with each other, because
Hmm.
obviously, like, I have a very different look from you. You have a very different look from your friends. We all have different looks from each other. And so a casting director is going to look at one of us and like our look more, right? And they're going to go with that. But that was predetermined before we even got in the room, that they had a
Hmm.
look in mind, right? And that's just how it goes. I might be someone's muse, and the person next to me might, this designer might not like them, but they're someone else's muse. And you kind of just have to find that, right? So
Yeah.
I hate the gatekeeping. I love trying to help all the models. I love helping people get into the industry because it's very fun and there's room for all of us. So,
Absolutely. Well, there's definitely a version of that I think that just permeates every industry, like
mm,
where coworkers just, going at each other passive aggressively or whatever. But you're right. At the end of the day, when somebody is looking to hire you for something, your
yeah,
resume might stand out over someone else's for whatever reason. It's completely subjective. It's up to that person that's hiring for the job. So don't get down about it. Be good. Help each other. I am so excited to see
absolutely.
what's to come from you. It sounds like we need to be following you on TikTok as well. Sarah, thank you so much for your
Yes.
time.
Oh, thank you so much. This was fantastic. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you again.